I've been here since 2005 and the coordinator since about 2010. Keighan, I think, has been here for about a year and a half. If you're not familiar with the VGA, it's part of the National Geographic Alliance network. We're a group of teachers and business leaders and professors and other geography-related professionals who are dedicated to promoting geography education in Vermont. We do have a website, although I warn you that we're about to make some major changes to it, so I don't know how useful it is at the moment, but we are on the web. And we're on Facebook. So search us out. You may be able to find us there. But our objectives today are going to be to really talk about what GIS is and what, in particular, ArcGIS Online is. Because ArcGIS Online is a really potentially powerful tool that we can use in the classroom. And I think something that's just as good as that is it's free to schools. We're also going to describe how to use ArcGIS Online story maps to create simple maps. We're going to concentrate on two types of story maps. We're called tours and journals, time permitting. But we'll also indicate some of the other types of story maps out there. And we're going to explain how schools can obtain a free account, an org account, from Esri in order to use ArcGIS Online. And then in the end, we should have, hopefully, plenty of time for questions. So with that, away we go. GIS, or Geographic Information Systems, is technology-based. It's really a system that allows you to display spatial data, whether it's in the form of paper maps or on screen or whatever, ask questions about those data and the relationships among the data, analyze spatial relationships, and then interpret them. And it's something that's increasingly being used throughout the United States and actually the world. In fact, the United States right now is exporting geospatial technology-based jobs to other countries because we simply don't have enough people in the United States who can handle this type of work yet. And actually, I'm going to go back one. ArcGIS Online itself is an Esri product that allows everything from simple mapping to complex problem solving. We're going to concentrate on the simple mapping. It's much more limited, or not much more, but it's a little more limited than, say, desktop ArcGIS, but there's still incredible potential, and that potential seems to be expanding every day for education and business. And with that, I'm going to actually hand the phone over, and I apologize for our Stone Age technology here, but I'm going to hand the phone over to Keighan, who's going to tell you a little bit about story maps.
Thank you. Story maps are a great way to utilize the data or data-driven instruction practices within a classroom. As you'll see on this slide, there is a wonderful YouTube video that you can copy and paste. You can also hop into YouTube and do a Google search or a YouTube search for story maps, a new medium. It's about a 3-minute long video that goes into much more detail about the practicalities of using a story map in a classroom. We will also be including links on the VCGI website at the end, just in case you don't catch it. All right, so the first example I have up here is a story map as a teaching medium. This is an example that a teacher has used to teach about things that led up to the Opium War. So they're able to present questions, as you see on the left, along with the world map on the right. And you're able to add text and pictures and prompts that your students are going to be able to address in the form of like a formative assessment. The following slide is one of the slides within this particular story map that highlights the location of where the image takes place, highlighting, I believe it's Canton in China. And this piece is all about identifying place along with media. So we have a picture of the silver that the Chinese were hoping to acquire from the British. And it places the lesson in a more concrete way. You can also, in addition to teachers utilizing story maps to conduct a lesson, you can also gauge student understanding by assigning summative assessments for your students. Some examples of student work are pictured here, and this was a project that used GIS data to understand more about the gray wolf habitat in Michigan. And there's 2 sample maps that down here in this lower section, you can't see the arrow, but you can gauge where the habitats are largest based on color description and density of the population regions there. Just one moment, and here's Roper.
She calls me that because she had me as a student years ago, and I've tried to get her to stop calling me Dr. or Professor Roper. So, but she won't call me by my first name. What we have here is a story map that I threw together in about 45 minutes. It's a really simple story map. It shows a neighborhood in my hometown, actually. I won't mention the fact that I actually live there. But the idea was to use information that the local Heritage Commission in my town had accumulated and to try to show it graphically. And I actually made this presentation to the Heritage Commission, and they were really impressed with the idea that you could do this with ArcGIS Online with a story map. And then subsequently we went to the local schools to see if we could interest them in maybe working with the Heritage Commission on a project to put a story map like this together for the entire community. I'm not sure where that stands, but I do know that the school is very interested in hearing about all the things that GIS could do, and on ArcGIS Online in particular. And so they've adopted ArcGIS Online, but I'm not sure where they are with my local Heritage Commission. But that's okay. But the idea here with this story map is I just took a base map that was available in ArcGIS Online, placed points on certain locations that I wanted to highlight, and connected them with photographs and information that the Heritage Commission supplied to me. So you could look through this map by clicking on each of the points, and that would bring up a photograph and information about that point. Or if I wanted to, I could simply click on each of these photographs, and the point that is connected to that photograph would immediately be highlighted, and the photograph and information would jump up on the screen. Excuse me. So there are a couple of ways to actually look at story maps. And the cool thing, or one of the coolest things I found in this particular application is they also work on your phone. So you could theoretically, with something like this, have the bit.ly that's listed at the top of the page on your phone and actually look at the history of the cultural landscape around you while you're there, provided you can get a connection, which you can't always in that neighborhood, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of take you through the steps just to show how simple this can be, steps that I went through to create a story map. And the first one I'm going to show is a story map tour. And the pluses of story maps, again, there's really no cost. Anyone can create a public account, and schools can create organizational accounts. It's fairly easy. Almost anyone can learn how to do it. I mean, if I can, then pretty much anyone can. And the nice thing is you end up with a product that has a link to a final map that can be placed on a website for a town or a county or local historical society or a school or whatever organization might be interested in that map. So what you do to create a story map tour, like the one for my neighborhood that I just showed you, is you would start by logging into ArcGIS. This would be the login page. So you'd sign in, provided you have an account. And once you've signed in, you'll be taken to a page that has just this basic map on it. There's not a whole lot to this map, I mean, by just looking at it, but if you zoom in on it, you will see different information that's displayed. But it is still just a basic base map. Now, there are a couple of things you could do with this base map. For example, if you look at the Add button, which I'm highlighting with the cursor, and click on Add Map Notes, you could place points on this map. You could place push pins or a number of other different points. And there are actually a surprising number of options that come with ArcGIS Online. So that would be the first thing that you could do, but I'm not actually going to create any map notes on this particular map. What I am going to do is change the base map. So I click on base map, and there are 9 different base maps to choose from, everything from satellite imagery, which my students love to look at when I use these in class, to streets, topographic, light gray canvas is probably the most basic. To me, it's the most boring, but it does have its uses, and a few other options. And so you just simply click on the base map that you'd like to start with, which in this case I did imagery with labels. And then you can zoom in on an area, and there are 3 ways of doing this. Obviously, the plus and minus buttons over here will get you to zoom in on the map. Another way is to find the address of the place that you'd like to look at. And the third way is just simply to click on Shift and, oh yeah, Shift? Well, anyway, how about this? You can experiment a little bit on your own. But what you can do is highlight a certain area and zoom in on it, and I chose to zoom in on Vermont and New Hampshire, mainly because I couldn't show Vermont without showing New Hampshire. We'll forgive them, though, because, well, I am from New Hampshire, so no offense to people in New Hampshire there. Anyway, what we've got now is your base map. Now, what you want to do with the base map is simply save it and then share it, which is the button right next to save. Because what you're going to end up with is a map that the public can see, or at least someone can see besides yourself. With this particular map, I chose to share with everyone. I'm also part of an organization, a couple of groups, actually, where I could share it with them as well if I wanted to. But since I'm sharing with everyone, I figure that's good enough. Now, if you look at what's on the screen, not only can I share it with everyone, but I'm also given this link to the map. This would be the public link. I could put it on Facebook, I could put it on Twitter, I could put it on my website, and that link will take me to this base map. Now, the other thing that I want to do with this is I don't just want to close at this point now that I've shared the map. I actually want to make a web application. In other words, I want to publish this map online. But how would I do that? What kind of format would I use? Well, if I were to click on Make a Web Application, this brings up the various apps that I could use. And there are 3 pages of apps, but a number of them are story maps. Story Map Basic, Journal, Swipe and Spyglass, which is a really cool one, Text and Legend, Tour, and so on. Well, what I'm doing here is we're creating a story map tour. So I just click on Publish, and that would take me to this page. What it's inviting me to do now is link my map, my base map that I just made, and it was very easy to make that base map. I really didn't make any changes except to zoom in on it. and link that map to images. I can link to YouTube video. I can link to images on Facebook, Picasa, or Flickr. And there's also a way to upload your images. However, that's only if you do have an org account. So what I did is I linked to 5 photographs that I put on Flickr. And they're all photographs having to do with places in Vermont. So I clicked on the Flickr link, and I looked up the photo album that I have on Flickr. And then I clicked on the photo set Vermont. I have a couple of photo sets on there from working with students, but the one that I'm using for this is Vermont. And then I would import that, click on the import, and now it's telling me to select and locate my images or videos. So what I can do now is simply click on each picture and then click on the place on this map where I want to put them. Now, provided you're using something like Google Chrome or basically anything but Internet Explorer, the nice thing is you can actually put these photos pretty much anywhere on the map and then edit the locations in the next step. So you don't have to really worry about where these locations are, and that's a really good thing because there's not a whole lot on that map, is there? So I would just go ahead and click on each of those pictures and click on the map, and eventually I'd put them in various locations around what I think is Vermont. And then once they're all on there, I'd import, and this is my story map. So with this story map, I can do a number of things. I can move the map around. I can actually change the base map. I can change the color of the points. I can change the locations of the points. I can change the title of the photograph. I can change the title of the map. I can change or I can add information about each photograph or each location. So this is pretty much where everything can get done in a story map tour. You have a lot of power actually just on this page to do almost whatever you want to do with your map. Obviously, you want to save it as much as possible so that every time you make a change, you won't lose it. You can reshare it if you really want to, but really once you've shared it once, you don't have to do it again. You can change colors, a lot of different things you can do on this story map. The next thing I want to show is something called a story map journal. And for that, we're just going to go all the way back to creating a base map. And what I've done already is I took a base map. It's a topographic base map. And I entered a place that I know of in New Hampshire. And it came up with the center of that town. And what I'm going to do with this story map journal is create sort of a walkthrough of the history of that location. Now, I did this very quickly, so please don't grade me based on the artistry of it. But the cool thing about this is that all I did is I saved 2 different maps showing this village. I marked the first map using the function that I showed you earlier. I put a push pin on the map just to show where Limeboro Center was in the context of the map in general. And then I centered the second map on the town hall. And I also have 2 other maps, older maps, that I'm going to import into the journal as just pictures. So here's that push pin that I placed here using the add function over here in the map notes. And as you can see in the map notes, you've got a number of different options here. But you can also change the symbol to a different color. You can change the size. You can change actually to a number of different symbols that aren't actually listed here at the moment. But we're going to be fine with the push pin just for the purposes of this. And then I created the second map, which is really just the base map again, showing the Lyndeborough Town Hall, as well as the Congregational Church, and just the center of this town in general. So again, I shared it, I saved it, and then I shared it, made a web application, and this time I chose Story Map Journal. So I hit publish, publish again, and then it brings up this page. Welcome to Map Journal Builder. Which layout do you want to use? Map journals allow you to have what's called a stage and a side panel. The stage is where the main map is going to be, and the side panel is where all of your information and ancillary stuff can be. I chose the side panel as opposed to the floating panel just because for the purposes of this map it seemed to be a little bit neater. So I started, and I enter a title, and then I have to import a map. Now I have two maps that I need to import, but you can start by just importing one of them. So I imported one of those maps, clicked on Next, and this is the main stage. So Lyndeborough Center 1. And then you've got the option of adding to the side panel. Now with the side panel, you can add text, you can add links, you can add photographs, you can add video. Here's your link. You can add all kinds of things. And what I decided to do was I added this photograph, which again is on Flickr. And then I added some information about what Lyndeborough Center is under it on that previous screen. I'll go back to that screen. Whoops. So I can add all that information here. And that's basically my title page. So Lyndeborough Center test, and that's the first page. And here's my map with the location denoted and everything. Then my next page, I imported a separate picture. This is not available as a map that I'm aware of online, so I imported a picture of this map, which is held at the New Hampshire State Archives, showing what that village looked like a little bit after 1800. And I could put a little bit of information in there and so on. And basically, you're just adding sections at this point. So you add section and you click on Add Section, I can say that, and you're just adding the same information that you saw at the very beginning, just whatever is appropriate to that particular slide. In the end, I actually added 4 different slides to this just to see if it could be done. It was really easy. I'm a little bit embarrassed by the result because, like I said, it didn't take a lot of time, but I figure if I can do it, just about anyone can do it. So anyway, if you're really interested in that map, there's a bit.ly up here, a link that will take you to it. Again, it's not my best work, but it's there. So with that, I'm going to hand the phone back to Keighan, who's going to talk about all kinds of other things.
Thank you. So you can see just in a few of the example slides that you've observed so far in the webinar that there is a great opportunity for student learning. They'll have a deeper understanding of the locations that they're learning about. They'll have a better understanding of the changes over time that can take place in an area. And utilizing this amazing free gift from Esri it's a wonderful opportunity that you should all look into. So I'm going to talk to you right now about how you can get an org account for your school. It's part of the Connected initiative and an Esri combined effort. So, okay. So you can actually come onto the ConnectEd website, and you can observe a video that explains what the ConnectEd initiative is. You can also learn more about what this online mapping and analysis program is all about. Some helpful links. I'm going to just share with you what this is. You'll see this document shared with you through the VCGI website. But for teachers and administrators, understanding more about ArcGIS are both available by following these two links. The first of them, I don't think these are hyperlinked, are they? Oh, thanks. So here's what you can see. By clicking on the first link, it's going to take you to the K-12 state license page. And from here, this is where you would begin to access your request for developing an org at your school. So following this model, you're going to click on like the first group of slide content, which are the instruction documents. Within here, you can share, this is actually a pamphlet. It's a slideshow, or you can print it out and hand it to your administrator to share with them what an ArcGIS online organization looks like for K-12 schools. So it's a free opportunity where you would be creating a website specific to your school, where you would have 1,000 credits of data processing, along with as many users and within your org functionalities, like who can perform what tasks. And this slideshow is a really nice way to really familiarize yourself with what the Connect Ed initiative is. If you're looking for some guidance for learners, this is another overview of what you really just saw so far with this webinar. So it's a nice, detailed way of demonstrating how you can create and collaborate with your students and with them as peers, or with your invested folks, on how you can utilize ArcGIS Online to teach about and learn about these different platforms. There's a wonderful piece. And creating an org, it's a simple process, but maintaining your org is going to be a little bit more complex. You're designing who is going to control what features within your org. So at my school at Green Mountain, I'm the administrator, and then I have 8 faculty members in the math, science, English, and history departments that are also administrators. And within their classroom, their students are set up as users. So each level has different accessibilities. So a user can apply layers to create points, publish materials, but they cannot delete accounts. An administrator can add new users and create new passwords and so forth. And what you're seeing here, the use strategies and org account use, what this will take you to is a nice little breakdown for understanding how your org can function, giving you a basic description of like the account types, the advantages and limitations of each one. And you'll see you can familiarize yourself with ArcGIS by just playing around without a account type. You can create a public account, which will give you a little bit more opportunities and more experience with creating, sharing, and saving like map notes and making more permanent data sets. Once you create an org, which you'll see is the 4th piece down, this is, it says it's fee-based, but if you're in a K-12 school, it's free. It allows you to have administrators, publishers, users, and so forth. Each member will have a private account with unique login, and the benefits of this are you can see the collaborative efforts of a student group. For example, the English department at my school recently read Into the Wild, the story of the young man who ventures off without any material possessions into Alaska. And they used ArcGIS Online to plot out the key settings within the story. And using the base layer map of the country and adding in map points that included pictures of the leather belt that the character uses, text from the pages where he describes what the scenery looks like. You can plot that into the map and physically see where it is that this character is talking about. And because each student was adding different pieces as a group project, by having everyone log in and share and work on a common base map, you can see what student A did compared to student B or C. I thought that was pretty exciting stuff. There's also effective strategies attached to this PDF page that just continues on from the app box. And I think these are really, really helpful points. It's very simple directions on how to set up an ArcGIS Online, and once you have it, how you can maintain it so it doesn't get muddled down with too many pieces. I feel like there's something else about that. Creating an org and requesting an org. In order to do that, you're going to follow this same, we're just going to back up a little bit, from the same instructional docs. In here is the actual document. It's like the third request line down. And you basically fill out a form that includes your name, the name of the school, how many students are in your student body, along with, oh gosh, a letter from someone at the school on letterhead that formally requests, we would like to have a Esri license for the ArcGIS Online platform through the Connected initiative. And once you hand in those two documents that are available from this page, it usually is about a 3 to 4 day turnaround time before you receive notification that your org has been set up. So using ArcGIS in the classroom, these are additional links for you to kind of review. So you can see how ArcGIS has been used in the past. They have wonderful videos that highlight the work of elementary, middle, and high school students that demonstrate different projects that they've been working on with their teachers. Do you want to talk about this? Okay, so I think additionally there's a virtual classroom where they do have teaching with GIS as an introduction to using GIS in the classroom. It's a free course that's available now, and you just hop onto the Esri website and you can click on their training catalog and anyone can enroll. It's about a 3-hour training piece. But it flows quickly because it's a very engaging training platform. There's additional links available to you that you will have access to on our link page posted following the webinar that talks about different activities you can do in 5 minutes without even logging in. So you can see on here, the one that's highlighted first is the activity 1. You can see your world. But these are 5 different activities that you can do in 5 minutes. So if you want to play around with them on a more engaged basis, you're welcome to do that as well. Once the webinar is over, you can just hop onto the website and poke around a little bit. So to request your org today, this is the paper I was telling you about. So step number 1, accounts accounts that are eligible to receive this this org have to be accredited K-12 public or non-public schools. Prior to requesting your ArcGIS Online subscription, you do need to play around with the ArcGIS piece because it really wouldn't make sense to request something that you don't quite understand. But there are many free resources and YouTube videos that you can watch and see demonstrations similar to what Roper did for you during the webinar earlier. So to formally request the account, as I was saying, it does come in 2 parts. You need to send the 2-part attachment, which is this request of this is my school and this is what I want, using the letterhead. So you see the form that is highlighted here. This is the actual form. And then a request on school letterhead signed by a member of the school's institution asking for using this specific language and ArcGIS Online for organization subscription for instructional use only as part of ConnectEd. And like I said, it's within a week that you'll have your org established. And you can learn more about the ConnectEd program by going to connected.esri.com. All right, hold on just one moment, and here's Roper.
You couldn't get rid of me that quickly, I guess. Yeah, I just wanted to end, actually. I think that's our two slides left. I'll actually end with this slide in just a moment, but please, if you have any questions, Keighan and I are both geo mentors, technically, having gone through T3G, meaning that we're available to answer any questions or give you any help that you might need from us. We've also got a number of documents that we're beginning to create, like, for example, how to create a story map with ArcGIS Online. We have one on story map journals and one on story map tours, which, if you want to give either of us it's not a ring, I guess just a request, okay, by email, we'll certainly be happy to answer. The other thing is, if you're curious to know about where org accounts have been set up in the area and where the geo mentors tend to be, if I can get this to work, of course not. Here's what we'll do. We'll very quickly go to, actually I'm already there. This actually is a story map that ArcGIS Online, actually Esri, has put together. Schools with ArcGIS Online organizations via ConnectEd. As you can see, we've got a few in Vermont. I think we counted 4. We're hoping to see a lot more than that soon, we really hope. If you have any questions, you want to seek assistance, we have educators who are seeking assistance, placing their information on this map, and these are the locations of geo mentors around the area. That one is me. That one is Keighan. So we have a few around the state, but yeah, we can travel a little bit too. We're not afraid to do that. We are geographers, so we do that kind of thing. Okay, and with that, I think I'm going to put it back on the Contact Us slide. We promised we'd leave about 10 minutes for questions, and according to my watch, we have 12 minutes for questions. So that's that.
Great. Thank you, Scott and Keighan. I'm going to open up the questions and encourage everyone to type them in and send them now. We do have a few here. I'm actually going to ask a little bit of an admin question first, because one of our attendees was asking about getting a certificate of completion at the end of this. And I just wanted to know whether that's something that you want me to do, or whether I should just pass along the participant list to you, and whether you have any plans to provide certificates, professional development certificates to anybody.
Well, we hadn't talked about it, but it certainly would make sense. So one of us definitely should do that, either VCGI or the Vermont Geographic Alliance.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something you and I should talk about afterwards.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But we
I just
definitely...
wanted to. Yep, I just wanted to mention it so that we remember to talk about it later.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So there was a question during Keighan's first section where she talked about formative assessments. And
okay, let me put Keighan on the phone then.
Hello?
Hi. So there was a question about the formative assessments you mentioned at the beginning. Sarah asked, are the formative assessments you mentioned collected online? And that was
They can be. by posting, it wouldn't be done using ArcGIS Online. They would be able to see, so like the teacher would have the image that I was showing, so something like the panel on the one side and the map on the other, with the formative assessment being, you know, can you answer these questions? They can direct their answers using Poll Everywhere, or Poll Anywhere would be like an online resource that they could use if they wanted their students to respond, and then you can see like the responses collectively online. But the formative assessment could be that, you know, you could use the platform of an ArcGIS Online to see if your students know how to create a story map and say, all right, so my formative assessment is I need to gauge where my students are at. You could create a step-by-step expectation. And then if the students are able to complete those processes, then the teacher would then know, okay, well, this is where my students are at. This is where I would like them to be.
Right.
So there's two ways that you can use that as a base.
Okay, great. And then David asks, how would you say that this compares, the story maps compare to Google Earth tours?
Oh, I'm so glad someone brought up the Google Earth tours. The wonderful thing about using ArcGIS Online compared to the Google Earth tours, Google Earth tours are a nice, simple introduction to using mapping technology. You have a map, you can drop a pin, and you can put a title on it. What ArcGIS Online offers you is an entire world of data sets. So if you were looking at, say, South Central Los Angeles, and you wanted to do an in-depth analysis of, for a social studies class, poverty analysis and crime rates within a given area, what ArcGIS Online can do is offer you access to that information using, you know, census data, using like crime statistics that are all collected. Google Earth does not have access to that additional data information. Google Earth is just place and point. ArcGIS Online is like the next level of interpretive spatial data. There's also an opportunity with ArcGIS Online that Google Earth does not allow for. There's a wonderful application that's free in your Apple Store called the Collector app. And what that is used for, and what a teacher had done with us in Green Mountain, was they downloaded the app, they created a base map of the town of Bellows Falls. And what you can do is you can have your students collect spatial data or collect data from around a town. And what the Collector app does is it uses your location services on your phone or on your iPad to collect your latitude, longitude, and altitude, and it saves that data on your phone when you push the Collect Here button. Another thing that same app can do is you can take a picture or record video of something you see at that location, and it stores that information into your map. And to my knowledge, Google doesn't have anything that cool.
Great answer.
Off topic there.
Yeah, no, that was good. I was actually thinking that I might take back the presentation thing and just show some examples of a few more story maps.
Sure.
I just happened to pull one up that's sort of topical to the season. So can everybody see where did your Thanksgiving dinner come from?
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is actually click on the different items on the plate here, and it will show places in the country where that particular food item comes from. So green beans, cranberries, much more limited as you can see. And yeah, so it's got, I didn't realize Wisconsin was a hotbed of cranberries, and then turkey. Sweet potatoes.
It's a very delicious map.
Yeah, seems to go with the season. So I just wanted to highlight another example of one that's a little more well, it's not quite whimsical. It's about local food. So, okay, let me go back to the questions. Got another question here. Sarah asks about that the iPhone app you were just talking about. Is that only on the iPhone, or is it also available for Android devices?
I don't know if it's available for Android devices. You'll have to go to, you'll have to check out the
Google Play.
I think actually if you can do like a quick Google search. Google is great for a search engine. You can, I think you can search for like the Collector app for ArcGIS, and if it's not, I definitely know it's with like iOS, but I'm not 100% if it's available for Android. I have an iPhone, and my school has iPads, so that's what I know.
Oh, somebody just searched for it and says it is available for Android.
Oh,
Thank
wonderful.
You,
it is available. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions out there? I think, oh, actually, that's a good question. So Sarah asks, can you speak to the geologic info available? Maybe I should go to ArcGIS.com and just point out another aspect of this. Have you guys done any research on, oh, I think I have to log in, on that type of data by any chance?
I've mostly used it for like the human geography pieces, but I did discover today with our earth science teacher that there's a wonderful app called iGeology, and that collects it's another app for your phone or an iPad. I'm again not sure about Android, but you can download it, and that data is available within that app. So I'm assuming that if it's available on an app, then it's available here as like a data layer. But what iGeology does is you log it onto your phone, you open up the app, and it can tell you right where you're standing what the rock compositions are like, because that has been mapped. I'm just not sure what the name of that file is or how to access it.
So I'll just briefly in these last few minutes point out that if you, once you get into, you've created an account and you can log in, another one of the add data options, so besides your base map and besides information you put on your map directly, you can also search for layers, which is what I did here. I chose search for layers, and then what I'm searching is kind of the bigger ArcGIS Online community. So these are data layers that individuals and public agencies, and in some cases I suppose private organizations, have posted and made publicly available. So an example is that Vermont Agency of Natural Resources has actually put the bedrock geology for Vermont in here as a service, which means you can then pull it into your map. It looks like it takes a while to load. Statewide, not such a good idea. Too many features, so we'll just zoom in a little bit. No?
Well, rocks are pretty heavy. They take a while.
Yeah, apparently they take up a lot of data space. Huh. Oh, not sure where that. Oh, there it goes. Sorry. Got to be patient. So yeah, you can actually search for and find a lot of different data layers that you can just pull right into your map. They may or may not be useful, as you saw when I clicked on it. Oops, you get a little bit of information here about it, but not a lot. You can look up the details, see if there's more there.
Oh, something else that's interesting, or at least in the town of Chester, our Regional Planning Commission has shape files that are available for public schools too. So all of like the local planning information about like where the footprints of buildings are located and so forth, that's all open access data. You just need to request it, and they will happily zip it up and share it with you for your students too.
And since you mentioned that, I will.
VCGI has wonderful
information. Yeah, I was just going to say, you can also get data from VCGI. this is a little more information than everybody needs right now. But yes, you can get lots more data at our website, and you can download it and then upload it into ArcGIS Online. There are other ways to add some of our data to ArcGIS Online that actually doesn't involve downloading and uploading. So if people are interested in that, they can contact me for more information about like what's available from VCGI and how you can access it. Definitely. Yeah, I just wanted to throw out there, although I'm not in any way an expert on ArcGIS or on story maps, to be honest. I was very interested to watch this because I haven't done anything with story maps yet. I can help people with some of just the basic stuff of like creating your kind of your base map and adding anything to it before you get to that point of story maps, and I'd be happy to help people muddle through that too if anybody's looking for additional help. Let me just see if there are any more questions. I think that's it for questions, unless people want to go ahead and send in some more. So just as a reminder, if anybody missed it, we are going to post this recorded webinar at the VCGI YouTube page, which you can get to right on our front page. And I'm sure there'll be a link from the Geographic Alliance page eventually as well. We also will post all the documents that Keighan and Scott mentioned at the Events Archive. So if you click on Events, Event Archive, and then Webinars, they will be listed. This webinar will be listed just above this one, and you'll see links to all the documents there. Okay, Keighan and Scott, do you have anything to add?
Well, I think we both want to thank you, Leslie, and VCGI for all of your help in putting this together. And, of course, we want to thank everyone out there for dialing in. Or
Great.
I guess it's no longer dialing. I guess it's
They may
Wi-Fi.
have dialed. Some of them may have dialed. Well, thank you very much for being willing to do this. I was really interested to learn more about ConnectEd and story maps. So hopefully people found it useful, as I did, and maybe we'll have some more follow-up webinars in the future if you guys found this easy enough, pleasant enough.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you to everybody, and have a great evening. And you will all get some follow-up emails that will allow you to know also where the YouTube page is. And don't hesitate to get back in touch if you need either Scott or Keighan's contact information or if you have any more questions. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.